So today what I'm going to reveal to you is how my agency was able to bring in 6 new clients in 1 week without cold calling and without spending any money on ads. Okay guys, welcome back to another video. If you're new, hit subscribe and hit the like button to show YouTube that you want to see more of this content. So you would have seen a couple of weeks back that I had a video that documented how we were able to sign 4 clients in 1 week. But things have changed a bit and we've got some different results from a few different strategies. We took a different approach and we did things a little bit differently than we did then. We're still doing the same strategy that we did before, but this is a little bit of a mix of a couple different things. Okay, so there's 4 key things to note here. One is that we did the exact same thing that we did before, which was outreach to a lot of brands, right? So we found a lot of brands on Instagram, we sent them a lot of DMs, a lot of emails, and we just did that over and over again. The second thing that we did a lot more of in this week was that we did a lot more personal outreach. So myself or someone else on the team just reaching out to people directly. So whether that's voice messaging a business or talking to maybe an influencer or someone of that sorts, and just having a conversation with them personally and not trying to just directly sell them through our outreach methods. The third thing that we did, which essentially we didn't do but our clients did, was that we had a lot more referrals. Okay, so we had 1 or 2 of these clients coming from referrals. So obviously nothing we did in this week resulted in us getting referrals, but those referrals were built from the work that we've done for our clients for the last few months. And then the fourth final thing to note is that we started off with a lower offer for nearly all of these new clients that signed up with us. So they're paying us less upfront. They're signing up for a 3-month minimum, and we know that we can upsell them onto higher packages as we go. So these clients are not all paying about 1K each per month, but they're all paying in the hundreds, and that is locked in for at least 3 months. And like I said, we know that we can increase that because that's what we usually do with our clients anyway. So if they started off with a smaller deal of 400 or 500, we know we can increase that to 600, 700, or even 800 as we go. Okay, so I'm just going to expand a little bit on those 4 key things because it's very easy for me to just throw them at you, but I want to make sure that you fully understand them and that you can replicate them for yourself. So the first thing is the outreach. Okay, so that is very similar to what we did before, where we just find brands, and it's basically a 4-step process that I'm going to show you now. So the first thing we do, which is very, very basic, is that we identify and we're crystal clear on what our service is and what niche we're targeting. So the second thing we do then when we have that dialed in is we move on to actually finding those brands or finding those businesses. And the way in which we do that is we type our niche, whether that's a hashtag related to our niche or just literally a keyword related to our niche, and we type that into Instagram, Google, LinkedIn, and basically anywhere else where you think your basically potential clients are going to be. So for us, we do a lot on Instagram, so it makes sense for us to do it there, but you can do it on LinkedIn, you can do it on Facebook, you can do it on, 101 different areas, but those are the things that work for. Once you find a few brands then, the big thing is that you have to have something compelling to say to them. So that is the third thing that you got to do, is you got to craft a really compelling message that's going to urge them to take action and show interest in what you have while not being too salesy or too over the top. A general structure that you can start off with is asking them a direct but indirect question. What I mean by that is a direct question about their business or their marketing, but an indirect in the fact that you're not asking them, hey, are you looking for a marketing company? You're asking them a question that will give you an answer that, maybe something related to their marketing, but you are not trying to pinpoint to them that, hey, I'm going to solve all your marketing problems. So for example, here you want to come off as an actual general consumer, so you could DM them and you can say, hey, do you guys run Facebook ads? I think I saw one of your ads during the week. When a business sees that, I think they're going to understand that you are not trying to pitch them straight away, but you are more of someone of interest who just wants to see what they're doing. Now, when you get a reply from them, what you can do then is you can take the opportunity to basically harness that relationship and basically give them a lot of value. So maybe give them some tips here and there, or show them how you helped a similar brand. And what you want to do now is you want to try and book in a call with them, but you don't want to just say to them, hey, book in a call and sign up for my service, or book in a call and we can see if it's a good fit for you to work with us, because ultimately most brands are going to get turned off at that stage. So you want to make sure that you give them enough value, you build up enough rapport with them, and give them something free first, whether that's a case study or a cheat sheet or something like that. And then after that, try and book in a call. The last 2 things you want to do is you want to follow up consistently, at least 2 to 3 times per person. And then you want to have multiple touch points, meaning that if you DM them on Instagram, try and get their email and then follow up with them on email and Instagram, and vice versa. Okay, so that's the first thing covered, the outreach, and that's what we do all of the time. We have someone who handles that for us, so we don't actually do anything there. We don't have to lift a finger. It's basically, we have a team member who is DMing and finding brands all day, and then basically what they do is they send them a bunch of emails that is all set up from our system, and the whole process is basically handled there. The second thing I mentioned was the personal outreach. So that involves either myself or someone on the team literally voice messaging someone or sending them a personal DM from our personal accounts, because a lot of times if you are coming from a business account, it can look a bit spammy or it can look a bit salesy. So it gives a personal touch, which again is kind of easier to sell someone because you just have more of a relationship with them. So what you can do here is you can either DM them from your personal page. You could then maybe send them a voice message, and then you could also send them a video. The voice message is going to obviously build up a lot of rapport, and it saves a lot of time as well. I would much rather send a voice message than typing out loads of messages. And the third thing I mentioned was the referrals. And like I said, this is not something that we can directly control, but we can basically encourage our clients to give us referrals. The way in which we do that is we make it attractive for our clients to basically refer people to us, but we also make it attractive for them to offer it to other people, right? So let me just explain that one really quick. So first off, what we do is we give them a referral fee. So for example, that could be 10% of any business they send to us. So if they send someone to us who pays us $1,000 per month, they get an extra $100, whether that's $100 off their current bill or just an extra $100 that we literally send to them. So that covers basis one of being attractive for them as the client. Now the second thing is that we want to make it attractive so that if I'm a client, when I find someone who could actually benefit from this agency service, I want to give them an offer that shows that, you know, I'm kind of giving them like a little a hand, okay? So I'm giving them kind of a leg up. So a way in which we do that is we would give them basically something for free. So obviously not something crazy, but you could give them, if you're doing content creation, you could give them an extra couple pieces of content for free in their first month, or you could give them an extra few Facebook ads or whatever it is. So the fourth thing that I mentioned was that we were using a lower offer than that we would usually do when we were trying to get brands to sign up with us. Reason being for this is that we locked them in for 3 months, so it's a lower offer, so at least we're getting them in for those 3 months. And like I mentioned at the start, we have a very good success rate at upselling them to higher packages. This is an approach that we've been doing a lot of the last month or so, where let's just start them off smaller, gives us more time to kind of like get them set up without doing absolutely everything for them, taking a lower workload, get them set up, get them good results with the smaller package, and then it's much easier to just add stuff on as we go. So far, we're finding that it's really good for our retention rate, so we're going to keep it up. Now, with all of these methods, you know, these are ways in which we were getting clients, but a big thing that's going to determine whether we actually sign them up is if we can actually get on the phone with them, describe our service to them in the most, you know, humanly way possible, but also show to them that we can get them good results. And by doing that, you need to be able to have good sales skills. Now, I am by no means a sales expert or anything like that, but what I do know is that sales doesn't have to be crazy complicated. You know, it doesn't have to be this weird standoff conversation where you're always trying to sell something. It's basically just you asking the other party a lot of questions that gets them to open up about the problems they're having, and then you coming in and just basically providing solutions to those problems. Now, what I'm going to do next is going to hop onto my computer for about 2 minutes and show you a little work through of the numbers, right? So what I mean by that is the numbers that go into signing 6 clients in a week, okay? So how many DMs you got to send, how many emails you got to send, and how many calls you got to do. Okay guys, so as promised, I want to walk you through those numbers of how we were able to get the 6 clients, okay? So first things first is that we were able to get 3 clients from referrals and the personal outreach, okay? So ultimately, we got 3 clients then from the other outreach that we do, and that is basically, like I said, a less personal way of doing things and a way in which we've automated it so we can do this pretty consistently every month. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you here. I've set up this nice little calculator where we can just work backwards, so I can put in the number of clients we want here, and then what that's going to give us is basically the number of DMs I got to do, emails and calls based on these response rates. Okay, so let me just explain those really quick. We're going to work off a 30% response rate for calls. What that means is that every 10 people that we talk to, we will close 3 of those 10. Okay. Now, obviously, you could have a way higher rate. We're just using a pessimistic number here because we don't want to overhype it. We don't want to say to ourselves, we only got to do 10 calls and we're going to get, 6 clients. No, we want to make it so that we got to do maybe 20 calls. And then if we do the 20 calls and close more, it's good news, right? So we've got 10% for emails. And what this means is that for every 100 people we email, we're going to get 10 of them to book in calls. Okay. And then lastly, we're going for a 50% response rate on the DMs, meaning that every time we DM someone, half of them are going to respond. So if you look at the numbers here, basically in that week to get those 3 people from this method, we had to do 10 calls, 100 emails, and 200 DMs. So per day, we're looking at, like 1.5 calls per day. If you're doing 7 days a week, you're then looking at about 14 emails per day and about 30 DMs per day. So if you ask me, I don't think that's a lot. Like sending 30 DMs a day, that takes maybe an hour. Doing 15 emails definitely doesn't take you an hour, and doing 1.5 calls is going to take you maybe 30-40 minutes. So you can see very quickly that if you have a system like this, that you can just get all of this done every single day, your results are just going to compound, and you're going to have results like this where you're signing, multiple clients per week, every single week. Alright guys, so that is it for the video. If you want to learn how to sign clients consistently within your agency or your freelance business, check out the link in the description. You will find my 6-figure roadmap there. I've also got a sale on the roadmap right now, so you can get $10 off with the code that is in the description. And as usual, if you have any questions, head over to my Instagram. You'll find that also linked in the description. DM me and I'll get back to you as soon as I can.